Hi there! In this lesson, I will introduce you to the future perfect tense. By the end of this lesson, you will have learned everything about it. In this lesson, I will first explain how you form a sentence with the future perfect, and then we'll have a look at when you should use this tense. The future perfect isn't really difficult to understand. It is used to talk about the past in the future. That sounds more confusing than it really is, trust me. But let's first find out how to form sentences with the future perfect. You've probably already seen the lessons about the present perfect and about future tenses. Let's quickly review these two. The present perfect is used to say that something happened in the past. Usually, the action has stopped by the time the sentence is said. Here are some examples. I have seen that movie many times. People have traveled to the moon. You make the present perfect using a form of the verb have and the past participle of the main verb. Now, let's look briefly at how we make sentences about the future. As you probably remember, it is quite easy. Most of the time, we use will or going to. Here are some examples. I will be in London next week. He is going to buy a car tomorrow. Okay, so let's go back to the future perfect now. Basically, the future perfect is a combination of the present perfect and future time. Here are some example sentences. I will have been in London for a week by the time I go back. He will have bought a car before the end of the week. Did you notice how I made the sentences? I added will for future time and have been as the present perfect. So, will have been is the future perfect. That's easy, right? Let's just look at a few more examples and their meaning. They will have lived in New York for 5 years next April. This sentence means that they are living in New York now, and next April it will be 5 years since they moved there. You will have spent all your money if you buy that car. This sentence means that if you buy the car, you won't have any money left over. Sam will soon have worked here longer than anyone else in the company. This sentence means that soon Sam will have worked for the longest time in the company. So, if we can make the future tense with will and going to, could we also use going to in the future perfect? Yes, you can. But then you also need to add a form of to be. Here is an example. You are going to have learned a lot of English by the time you come back from America. However, it is more common to use will. Maybe you remember the differences between going to and will. They are the same with the future perfect. If you are not sure what these differences are, you should watch that lesson again. Do you remember that we often shorten the word will? Instead of she will go, we often say she'll go. In a sentence with the future perfect, we do exactly the same. Making a negative sentence is also not difficult. Just add not between will and have. You will not have completed all the exercises before tomorrow. To form a question, you place will at the front of the sentence. Will you have completed all the exercises before tomorrow? All right, so now that you know how to make the future perfect, I will talk a bit more about when we use it. As I already said, this tense talks about the past in the future. So, what does that mean? Well, usually it means that some future action will be completed before something else, which is also in the future, happens. So, both things are in the future, but at different times in the future. So, the sentence, "Will John have left when I arrive?" could also be asked like this. Will John still be there when I arrive, or will he be gone? It is important to see that everything is happening in the future, and we use the future perfect to help us see the order in which things happen in the future. Most of the time, we include some indication of time in the sentence. You can use words like before, when, by, or by the time, tomorrow, next year, etc. So, to summarize, we use the future perfect tense to talk about the past in the future. Now you know what I mean, right? That wasn't so very complicated, was it? Here are some final examples. Mary is not going to have her test finished by 3 o'clock. By the time you arrive at the station, the train will have left. You can call me at 8. I will have arrived by then. That's all for now about the future perfect. Try some of the exercises to see if you really understand.